Welcome to the Prohibition Kitchen. I'm Anthony. This is my kitchen. The show is going to be about making cocktails the way that I make them around here. This is our first episode. Hope you like it and stick around for the rest. I'm sure that there will be a lot more. Okay, today I'm starting us off with the granddaddy of them all, kinda, the old-fashioned. Old-fashions are some of our favorite drinks around here, whether that be rye or rum or mezcal. We might look at some of those and other ones in the future here. There's a few pieces of critical prep. If you are making any cocktail that calls for a peel, especially expressing that peel, such as the old-fashioned does, there are 3 keys to have your peel prepped. The hottest water that you can stand on your hands, soap, and a scrub brush. Just scrub that whole thing in the hottest water that your hands can stand. The hot water helps open the peel up, encourages it to give up those oils more readily, as well as the scrub brush helping to think like exfoliating your face. I'm joking, but the soap and scrub brush obviously are there really for the wax that's going to come on it from the grocery store in America. I like to use Demerara sugar in my rye old fashions. I was using brown sugar cubes, but I couldn't find consistent brown sugar cubes. So let's get into it. 1 Demerara sugar. I'm obviously using the muddled sugar cube method. This is Fees in one of the Barfly Japanese bitters dashers. We'll probably do an episode measuring how much actually comes out of 1 or 2 dashes of this versus the regular dasher bottle, but that's not this episode. So we're going to do 4 dashes out of one of these, at least out of one of these Barfly Japanese style dashers. My primary bitters in the old fashioned that I'm using is the Bitter Truth's Bogart's bitters. I'm not a big fan of the clove and gentian pop of Angostura, at least not in a rye old fashioned. So here I'm using Bogart's bitters. It's really delicious. I actually found this bottle on Amazon, as well as this, which is just a Barfly bitters dasher like on here. And though out of the smaller bottle we get a relatively small dash, this is giving me about the same size dash as right out of an Ango bottle or similar bitters bottle. We're going to do 2 dashes out of here. The disc on the backside of these bar spoons are only for muddling sugar cubes. Don't use them for fruits or anything else. It'll break off. We're going to muddle this just until you start to see the grain size just start to get smaller. I don't want the grains to go away. I don't want it to fully dissolve by any means. I just want to see that grains begin to break down. That's going for texture and development as you drink the cocktail. I'm using Rittenhouse Bonded Rye. We're going to use 2 ounces of that. Okay, if you're using molded cubes, like come out of a silicone mold, they're still cloudy out of the silicone mold, so you won't have to stir nearly as much as this because they melt faster. Here, I'm using a room temperature glass because the old-fashioned is actually kind of a riff on totally blanked on the name, kind of a riff on the bittered sling, which calls for water, not ice. So we need a room temperature glass to help melt the cube into it to give us that water. What I'm looking for while stirring this is condensation or frost to build up on the glass. And I'm also feeling here and down here for temperature. It's starting to get cold down here, starting to chill down here rather. And the last thing I'm going to look for is actually the frost to develop up the side of the glass, kind of at the high point that the whiskey sloshes around the inside of the cup as I stir. I'm going to garnish with a Luxardo Cherry. Oh my gosh. That cherry is gross, or broken, rather. Let's go with this one. A little drop of the juice, of the syrup rather. That doesn't really dissolve into the drink as much as just give you a little bit more of a pop at the end. Peeler. Forgot my peeler. I'm going to take a very long peel, probably at least 3/4 of the way around this orange. Looking for a part that's going to look okay in the glass. Pretty much anywhere is the same on this one. And nearly all the way around it for a very long peel. You're going to see me express quite a bit of orange oil into this drink. And you might initially think it's too much. Just kind of folded it in half here, and now I'm going to fold it into quarters by then expressing down each side of that fold. Now if I just left this oil floating on top of the drink here, as you normally would do with an old-fashioned, it would be very orangey. Instead, after I run the rim, there's a lot of orange oil still on the peel. So I like to thread this down between the cube and the glass, and some of that admittedly large amount of citrus oil or orange oil there, I'm essentially just helping to incorporate that into the drink. Just by repetitively threading the peel down into the drink there. And then leave it in there. Now the reason that I pick my cherries is so that you can control that huge cube. A big cube in the face is never fun. So using your index finger on the pick, like so, you can control the cube. All right, that's it. That's my favorite old fashioned. How about some tasting notes? Cheers. The spiciness of the rye is right up front. Smoothened out a little bit by just the perfect dilution. That's when I was looking for the frost to kind of build up above the fluid level in the cup. That's really the indicator that I'm looking for when I'm stirring it down. Very much beyond that, we're over diluting it. This You also do get quite a bit of the complexity of the Bogart's bitters. The flavor profile here, we'll have to do a tasting of eventually in an episode, but the flavor profile here is like coffee and chocolate, very light chocolate, cardamom, and maybe some cinnamon in there, but very delicious. And yeah, very well balanced. I would encourage you to give it a shot, or tell me how you make your old fashions down in the comments. Please give me a like and a subscribe. Maybe find me on Patreon if it's in the comments yet. Thanks for watching.